name is Samantha Wright and this is my video presentation for MAN2020 Assignment 1. This report outlines the steps, risks and logistics of transporting 1 tonne of Camembert cheese from a warehouse in Normandy, France to a restaurant in Colombo, Sri Lanka. It will cover the necessary packaging, transports and costings to transport the cargo. I will explain the packaging, transportation costings and risks to this logistics challenge. The primary packaging of the cheese cannot show any defects upon arrival. These include, but are not limited to, damages caused by moisture and mechanical influences. Any damage to the cheese and its packaging increases the risk of mould and or larva infestation. Each wheel of Camembert weighs 250 grams, so 1 tonne of Camembert equals 4,000 individual wheels. The first layer of packaging will be a wax layer on each individual wheel, and as Camembert has a rind, the individual wheels will then be packed into tin foil and placed in lockable mesh containers. There will be 500 wheels of Camembert in each container, equaling a total of 8 containers. These elements make up the primary packaging. The container will then be placed into a larger refrigerated container. The container can be placed on the back of a truck as well as stored in a ship's cargo. In this instance, the type of container to be used will be an integral unit. These containers use a reefer to control the temperature and humidity inside them. They can be plugged into an external power source to ensure a consistent temperature is kept at all times. They work by drawing the warm air from the container, cooling it, then blowing it back into the container. This keeps the temperature stable throughout. The containers are lifted slightly from the ground to ensure the air flows freely throughout the container. The temperature on these units can be adjusted. For the purpose of this shipment, it will be kept at 2 degrees for the length of the trip. It is imperative that the container is cleaned thoroughly before the cargo is loaded, as cheese is sensitive to dust, oils and dirts. The transportation methods that will be used for this shipment are road and sea. Trucks will be used to transport the Camembert cheese from the warehouse in Normandy to the port and to transport the cargo from the port to the restaurant in Colombo. It will take roughly 1 day to drive the cheese from the warehouse to the port, 30 days at sea and 1 more day to take the shipment from the port to the restaurant via road. This gives the entire transportation a total of 32 days. The trucks will be standard trucks that can carry a refrigerated container, one that can be connected to a power source so the cheese stays cool for the journey. They will travel via main roads and highways to ensure they can go as fast as possible. The trucks will leave before peak hour times so they do not sit in traffic for too long. This goes for both road journeys in Normandy and Colombo. If there are any reasons why the cargo cannot be transported by road, it will be transported by rail. Once loaded onto the ship, the container will be connected to the power source. Throughout the journey, the cargo will be checked by on-board engineers to ensure the temperature never changes. Although sea transportation takes much longer than air, it is better for this particular product as it requires supervision. If something were to go wrong, for example the power supply shut down, on board engineers would be able to fix it. However, in the air there is not much that can be done. Ships have more resources on them, such as generators and 24-hour workers, than the air. The costings are as follows, but please note these are all estimates. The cost to transport the cargo from the warehouse in Normandy will cost €2,000. The cost to transport the cargo from Normandy to Colombo via sea will cost €5,000, and the cost to transport the cargo from the warehouse via truck in Colombo will cost €2,000 as well. The cargo will also be applicable to all export and import taxes in both France and Sri Lanka. There are 4 risks that France, the exporter, may experience. Number 1 is country risk. These risks are challenges that may occur in the worldwide business environment. These may have a negative effect on the French operations. These include risks in the legal, political, cultural and economic environments. Credit risk is the second one. This risk covers anything to do with the money side of the contract. This includes non-payment or no payment from the importer. This is usually more of a risk in international business relationships, such as this one, due to trouble verifying credit and large distances between both exporter and importer. The third is currency risk. When 2 countries with different currencies make a business deal, there can be risks with the way currency is interpreted. For example, if the deal is made in euro, but then the value of the euro drops, the exporter will be out of pocket. To mitigate these risks, the exporter can request that all payments be done in US dollars. This reduces the risk of loss of value. Finally, transportation risk. These are the risks that may occur at any stage of the transportation journey, be that road or sea. Some of the risks are theft, damage, and non-arrival. In order to avoid these risks, the exporter and importer must sign a contract outlining who is liable if something like this was to occur. The exporter needs to get insurance for the journey if anything were to happen. So if we follow all of these steps, it shouldn't be too much of a trouble getting the cheese from Normandy to Colombo. So thank you for listening.